Good morning and welcome to Dollars with Sense. I'm Ela Lange here with my fellow financial guru and co-host, Terence Vanderwood.
Good morning, all.
So, summer's over, back to school. Exciting times for children and their parents. In my household, I have a 5-year-old starting kindergarten next week, and he can't wait. Terence, how about you?
Well, my kids are a bit older, as you know, Ella, both in high school, and indeed, they too are very excited to be getting back to their friends after a long and busy summer. The school itself, they're kind of lukewarm about, but that's understandable. We've all been through that.
Well, everybody, Terence and I thought we'd take this opportunity to address the topic around financial education. As we know, this type of program doesn't exist in every school. So it's up to us parents to instill a certain sense around our children's habits and relationship with money. What is money? What do we use money for? What roles does money serve for us? In covering some of these money basics, you might find that you, as an adult, will enhance your own general money knowledge and skills. So inevitably, by virtue of your example, you'll certainly be able to pass those skills on to your children.
That's right. There are loads of things to learn about money that we can teach our children to have better control, to make better decisions, and have a better chance at achieving whatever goals they set out for themselves from early on. So we invite you to spend the next 20 minutes with us as we will help build your basic understanding of money in a way that you can communicate what you learn to your children to encourage them to get more and more involved with money and money decisions. Not everyone knows how to talk to the kids about money, so if that's you, stay tuned because we'll be right back here on the advice for your kids on Dollars with Sense.
Welcome back. I'm Ela Lange, co-host of Dollars with Sense, here with my fellow financial guru, Terence Vanderwood, as we tackle the challenge of educating our children about money. If you had to describe what money is to your children, what would you tell them, Terence?
Well, money is a way for a person to trade what he or she has for what he or she wants. Today, we use banknotes or bills like the $5, $10, $20, or $50 bill, and even the 100 sometimes, and so on. But back in the old days, money actually had a value in and of itself. Some money was made from metals like gold and silver. The coins were actually valuable because of the metal they contained. A gold coin had a value based on the worth of the gold used to make it. Of course, today, our dollar bills represent value. In other words, we use a $100 bill to buy $100 worth of things like a bicycle or the latest Star Wars Halloween costume, included with a lightsaber.
Over time, lots of different things have served as money. Gold, as we stated, cows, shells. Today, in most parts of the world, what is used as money has become pretty standard from country to country. Of course, each country has its own money. So we've got the dollar, there's the euro, the yen, the franc, are all known as currencies. So no one is using cows as currency anymore, but in some countries, you could probably trade a cow for something else. So that would be called trading or bartering. But how does one gauge price when bartering? Is a computer worth 4 bicycles? Well, currency makes buying and selling so much easier, and if you're exchanging money with another country's currency, you get your worth through a market, a foreign exchange market.
Now, money has specific characteristics. It has to be durable. If we use apples, they would rot, right? So apples wouldn't work. It can't be easily reproduced. If we use chestnuts, soon everyone with 4 trees growing in their yard will have lots of money, right? It's got to be easy to transport, so elephants wouldn't really work in that example. And finally, it has to be easy to divide up.
Today, one doesn't even need to handle actual money to buy things thanks to debit and credit cards or online banking. We can transfer money through our computers from the comfort of our homes or in our cars or on the SkyTrain. We can send money across the world in a matter of seconds. We tap our cards on little devices when buying groceries and walk out the door. We're not standing around counting exact change because, well, 8 out of 10 times we're not even carrying actual money on us. So good thing to keep in mind as we shop with our little ones who miss out half of the info when they're watching mom and dad buying things using their magic cards. They're not getting the true sense of what the price of a carton of milk costs. So that might be a good conversation to have next time you are shopping with your children.
Money is a medium of exchange, right? It helps us buy things from one another. It is easier to use money than to barter. It is the one thing we use to set prices for all things: toys, books, cars, food, houses, what have you. Everything has a price, so money serves as a store of value, which means we can save it and use it in the future. We can store money in a variety of different ways and in different places. We can even try to set money aside to try and increase its value by saving or investing it. That's where the fun is.
Have you got your kids working on their own savings program at home, Terence?
Yes, actually we do. We have, my son has opened himself a bank account and he has some money in there. We're in the process of getting an ATM card for him. So that means he's going to have the responsibility of treating his money carefully. My daughter, who's a little bit younger, we pay them obviously an allowance for doing chores, and she uses that money to her discretion, and sometimes it's for spending, and sometimes it's for saving, and sometimes it's for giving away.
Good one. Good plan. Because, well, my son has his first loose tooth coming out any day now. And what I'm waiting for is when it does come out, I will, of course, as per tradition, throw it under the pillow and tell him the tooth fairy will drop off some money. But I'm taking this opportunity to write him a letter from the tooth fairy advising him what to do with the money. So I'm putting in enough change that I can divide up into 3 to put, as you did, Terence, into a savings jar, a spending jar, and a giving jar. And that's my little way of getting him into that frame of mind. My son is 5 years old, by the way. He's a bit younger.
Yes, oh, that's very sweet. And an easy way to get kids to start a healthy relationship around money. When we talk to the older ones, say 10 years and older, around my kids' age, you can include concepts like inflation by explaining how it eats away at the value of our money, making saving for the future more necessary and more difficult. But if your money is growing at a rate that beats inflation, then your purchasing power in the future is secure. This can spark some really cool conversations with our kids. Don't underestimate their intelligence of grasping some, if not all, of these concepts.
Yes, and next rainy Sunday afternoon, you and your children are looking for something to do. Pull out your Monopoly board and highlight the fact that at the beginning of the game, all players are given a certain amount of money from the bank. And they use this money to buy properties, which we know are houses and hotels, and to buy and sell properties to build monopolies, and et cetera, et cetera. You all know the game. They are using money to make more money if they play it right. So right there, you can expand on this concept to explain why our Bank of Canada only prints a certain amount of money to have floating through our economy. I remember asking my dad a long time ago why banks just don't print more money to give to people.
That's a valid and a good question, and also it's a good time to explain that there would be no added value in the money if we printed more. In fact, it would cause a bad situation, going back to the Monopoly board, and cause prices of houses and hotels to go up, say double. The added money would be chasing after the same quantity of goods. With more money in the game, prices will be bid up as players look to build their monopolies and make exchanges with one another. The same applies to the economy.
If you're enjoying the way in which we are discussing money basics today, which ultimately the way in which we're doing this is geared to supply parents out there of ways to talk to their children about money, then there's a great book called Money in Youth, coming up on your screen now, A Guide to Financial Literacy by Gary Yarabier. He's the president of the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education, that we here at Investors Group support the production and distribution of across Canada for over 15 years now. And I've read recently that's a total of 300,000 copies so far that we highly recommend you obtain and read. If you reach out to us here on Dollars with Sense, we can provide you with your complimentary copy where there are fantastic things you can teach your children about money. Now, we're going to take a little break here, but we'll be right back with more advice on money for your children here on Dollars with Sense.
Welcome back to the second half of our show. Here we will delve into the other half of the details around advice for your kids. As mentioned before, this knowledge, though very useful for teaching your children, is also very useful for your own finances. This portion is what we call taking control of your money. So let's assume that you have found one or more ways to make income, to make money, and you now have an income coming in. You have decisions to make about what you're going to do with your money and how you're going to manage it. Before you answer that question, though, this is an important question to honestly ask yourself. Are you a saver or are you a spender?
Well, there are some individuals that are well disciplined in setting aside some of the money they earn. These are known as the savers. And there are other individuals who are more interested in using their money to purchase the comforts they want in their life. They are known as the spenders. Like everyone in life, the key is pleasing both sides of this coin, is balance. The only difference between the saver and spender is the habits they have. An extreme saver is in the habit of purchasing her needs for the least amount possible and putting away as much as possible. The extreme spender has a habit of seeing the dollar figure that he or she has and what purchase she can make to own the latest trend.
A key way to change or establish financially good habits is through creating a budget for yourself. A budget is a plan of how you are going to use your income on a month-to-month basis. It helps you look at your expenses, both those you have each month and ones that are less regular. A budget also helps you save, build up your savings over time, and achieve your financial goals. When polled, survey after survey shows that most people think that having a budget is important and that budgeting is a smart thing to do. Sadly, these surveys also show that most Canadians do not work with a budget.
Uh-oh. So why does this happen? Why do most people believe it's a good thing to do but don't do it? One of the most popular responses is that people feel they don't make enough money to warrant having a budget. The ironic part is this mindset is that the less income you have, the more likely it is that a budget can help you. A budget is a key tool to getting the most out of your money and wasting the least amount possible. It helps you make good financial decisions as it gives you a clear picture on where your money is going to and how changing a few bad habits can lead to a savings plan within your budget.
There are also many people who believe a budget is a financial straitjacket. Again, ironically, the opposite is the reality. A budget will offer you greater financial freedom. A budget helps you know where your money is going and will enable you to see where you can cut back if you are overspending. It will show you where your monthly expenses are being lost to unwarranted monthly expenses. It will also show where you can spend a little less, perhaps on retail spending, and allocate that money towards emergency savings.
Mm-hmm. And perhaps you don't need a budget because you are happy with how your cash flow is going. Well, for now. As you get older and your income and complexity of expenses grow, a budget may be necessary for you to keep your income and expenses clear in your mind. Again, the only difference between the savers and the spenders is their financial mindset and habits. Even if you don't think you need a budget right now, getting into the habit of tracking your finances will be setting yourself up for excellent financial habits for the rest of your life. Creating or having this kind of habit and mindset will always produce a much greater return on your investments than any kind of stock or fund.
So have a look at the template on your screen, which will show you a basic budget. This budget template is one that I use for myself and my clients and is very helpful in showing a clear, accurate picture of your income and expenses. If you would like to receive a copy of this Excel spreadsheet, please reach out to us via email at twofinancialgurus@gmail.com. That's the number 2financialgurus@gmail.com. By phone at 778-879-0820, or leave us a message on our YouTube channel. Just punch in Ela and Terence into the YouTube search bar and we will come up. Or finally, you can reach us by our Facebook page, Dollars with Cents, where you can leave us a message as well. Looking at the spreadsheet, you will see that the income is listed on the left-hand side and expenses are on the right. They have been categorized into different groupings that are simply suggested labels that can be adjusted as per your budgeting needs.
So here are some basic budgeting tips when creating your budget. Build your budget on the basis on what you need to spend your money on and what you are hoping to achieve. People are different and therefore their budgets will be different and unique. Make your budget work for you. Use your budget to help make your decisions about using money. If you build a budget and then ignore it, well, that's a waste of time and a really bad habit. Keep your budget flexible. Life needs change, your expenses change, your income changes. So make sure that you use a budget that will be able to adapt to these changes and that you review your budget at least monthly.
Keep your budget simple. Nothing will turn you off budgeting more quickly than if you make it too complicated and a lot of work. Keep it simple and make it easy and fun. Be honest and realistic. If you are not honest with yourself in the preparation phase, you will only be setting yourself up to fail. Be realistic in terms of what your expenses are and what you might have to give up, do without, or trade off to save for the future and or build up your savings. Keep accurate and clear records. Accurate record keeping is a key part of good money management. You will be amazed at how much time and money you can save when you know where things are. Cloud technology is also a great way to have an automated bookkeeper for all your income and expenses. I personally use a system called mint.com. These are the same people who created TurboTax and the Intuit accounting software. I have been using it for over the past 5 years, and I am at the point where I need to spend about 5 minutes weekly to make sure all my cash flow is in the proper categories.
God, I got to get into that. Clear records are also key to filing taxes, so it's also a good habit to collect a receipt for each purchase and filing them away for easy finding later on. The system I use is simple and effective. Take a blank envelope, write the month and year on the back of the envelope, and then attach it to your fridge. Put all purchase receipts into that envelope, and at the end of the month, file it in the envelope and start a new one. That way, if there are any questions or needs for a particular receipt, all you need to remember is the month of purchase, and you can easily find the receipt in there.
Yes, test your budget. Don't expect it to work flawlessly the first time you try it. Give it a test run for a while and see how it goes. Then you will be able to measure your results and change accordingly to your ideals. A budget for the unexpected. This is usually referred to as a slush fund, but remain vigilant to keep this part of your budget. Something surprising or unexpected will always come along, so be prepared. And finally, reward yourself when your budget work pays off. Use a portion of your successful savings to motivate and encourage yourself to keep adding good habits and to celebrate when you have let go of the bad habits you have recognized.
Yes. So many great tips and so little time. We have to take a short pause right here. But your two financial gurus will be right back with solutions to an overspending problem you may have. And we'll wrap up with this week's episode with your action items for the week. Take a moment to grab your pen and paper because we'll be right back with more Dollars with Sense. Thank you again for joining us today while we discuss the money basics and taking control of your money on Dollars with Sense. Now that you have your budget document in place and you are reviewing it regularly, you may find that you're spending more than you like or want, but you are not sure what areas you'd like to cut back from. Here are some actions you can consider to help you get into the zone and find the balance and that will make your relationship with money as healthy as possible. Don't pay others to do what you can do yourself. Always shop with a list and don't buy anything that's not on the list. Another good habit is to go grocery shopping after you have eaten so your hunger pains don't force you to impulse buy. Cut back on your entertainment expense by finding less costly ways to have fun.
Change the way you get around. A monthly transit pass costs much less than a month's worth of gas. Consider taking your bike to work a couple days a week, or look how you can walk rather than drive. Give up or cut back on your vices. This is a tough one, but such as smoking and lottery tickets, junk food, computer games, etc. Have an honest conversation with yourself on how healthy and helpful these habits are, and how you can replace them with healthier habits. Before you buy anything, be it a package of gum or a new car, ask yourself if you need it. This mindset habit is extremely powerful in creating a healthy relationship with money. It can be a simple yes or no answer, but the momentary pause before you decide will help you save much money and keep your budget on target.
All awesome points, and will be very helpful in finding the balance that we're looking for when it comes to finances. So, your action items for the week. Number 1, create and use a simple spreadsheet where you can keep a one-page monthly record on your income and expenses. On your screen is our version, which you can receive from your financial gurus by contacting us via email, phone, YouTube, or Facebook. We've mentioned all of those before. Number 2, work out your net monthly income. In most cases, you can simply take the dollar figure you receive from your employer after all payroll taxes have been deducted. If you're paid bi-weekly, calculate the amount on your check by 26 pay periods and then divide by 12. This will give your monthly income amount. If you're paid twice a month, on the 15th and 30th, the calculation will be by 24 pay periods, and those who receive monthly payments will have 12 pay periods.
Number 3, list your monthly expenses in the categories suggested. How much you pay to service your debt, how much it costs to maintain your shelter, how much you spend to keep living, like groceries, etc., how much you spend on transportation, and how much you spend on medical and insurance needs, and finally, how much you spend on other things like vacations and other expenses. Once this is complete, you will have an accurate picture on how much money you have left over or are overspending. The more accurate the numbers you put into the budget, the more accurate your results will reflect your reality. You will also have a clear picture of where your income ends up, and you will be able to pinpoint the good and bad habits and change accordingly.
Super. Thanks very much for joining us today. Feel free to reach out to us with your comments and questions by emailing us at 2financialgurus@gmail.com. That's the number 2, financialgurus@gmail.com. Message us on our Facebook page, Dollars with Sense. Check us out on our YouTube channel by punching in Ela and Terence on the search bar. And certainly, you can give us a call anytime, 778-879-0820. And we're always looking forward to your comments, any suggestions, discussions, So please don't hesitate to reach out. On behalf of my fellow guru, Terence, and I, we wish you a wonderful week ahead, and may your dollars and cents be with you.